Hi, come on in. I'm glad you're here. Well, when you hear the word estate, what comes to mind? Is it a huge mansion on a lot of property? Or the property of a very wealthy person? Tonight, I'm going to share with you that you have an estate, and you don't have to be very wealthy. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kimberly Ivory Graves, your holistic elite legacy planner, aka Help Me Kimberly. I am also the author of Leaving Peace in Order. It's a step-by-step guide to getting your affairs in order. If you're interested in getting a copy of my book, I encourage you to go to my website, helpmekimberly.com, and place your order. The book not only comes with a regular size workbook, but you also have the option to get a copy of the mini size workbook. And the workbook is also on a flash drive. So when making your selection, make sure you choose accordingly. Welcome to the Living Peace in Order show. This is a show where we will share tips to a life of love and peace through Jesus Christ and steps to getting your affairs in order. Before we get started in our show, I have an assignment for you. If you would, go ahead, hit that like button. Also share with a family member or a loved one, someone who could use this information. If you're on YouTube and you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification button so that you will not miss any of our shows. With that being said, let's get started. Our scripture for this week is found in Psalms 119, verse 165, and it reads, "Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them." Again, that's found in Psalms 119, verse 165. And we share this scripture every week because the Living Peace in Order show is divided into two segments. The first segment is where we come on Tuesdays and Thursdays and share the order aspect of living peace in order, and we talk about having your affairs in order. The second aspect of the Living Peace in Order show is aired on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central Time on Clubhouse, and this is where we share 52 weeks of living peace, and we share 52 different scriptures. Each week, a different scripture on peace. So I encourage you, if you would, sign up for Clubhouse and join us on the Living Peace and Order show, and join us on Saturdays. It's a great discussion. We've been having a wonderful time, so I do encourage you to join us. With that being said, our topic tonight, as I stated, is yes, you have an estate. So you may say, Kimberly, what is an estate? And I did a brief survey where I sent it out to just a few people, and as it relates to estate. And the questions that I asked them was, one, do you have an estate? And 80% said yes, 20% said no. The second question was, if you do not have an estate, why not? And the response was, I don't have any assets, or I haven't started working on it yet. And then the third question was, if yes, what is included in your estate? And they gave answers like their home, their car, their jewels, their cash, their stocks and bonds, their life insurance, their 401k, assets, and everything that they own. The fourth question I asked is, who will get your estate when you pass away? And the response was, some said, my children, my spouse, and my child, and possibly even an organization. And then finally I said, are they aware that they will be getting your estate when you pass away? And 70% said yes, and 30% said no. And the last question that I asked them was, have you started your estate planning? And the response again was, not on paper. And then 70% said yes, and 30% said no. So I want you to think about those questions as it relates to your situation. Do you have an estate? If yes, what's included in it? If no, why don't you think you have an estate? If you don't know, hopefully by the end of this show, you will be able to identify what is included in your estate. So make sure you continue to listen on to the end to understand where you stand as it relates to your estate. Alrighty, what is an estate? An estate is everything included in your net worth. So basically everything that you own. And so your net worth consists of your assets. Again, everything that you own minus your liabilities, everything that you owe. So when you have assets and you owe on those assets, that brings about a negative, that reduces the value of your asset. So again, an estate is everything included in your net worth. That means your assets minus your liabilities. So I'm going to go through some of the assets that would be included in your estate. Okay, all of the money that you own. So that means your cash, your checking account, your savings account, your money market account, that money in piggy banks, you know, all those pennies that you have in that jar, that's part of your estate. The money that you hid under the mattress or in the walls, you know, you got a little secret compartment in the floor. Make sure that you somehow document where all this money is. So if something happens to you or you becoming incapacitated, someone that you trust is aware of where you have this money stashed, because this money is a part of your estate. The second thing that's part of your estate are your investment accounts. So this would be your retirement accounts, your 401ks, your IRAs, your stocks, your bonds, CDs, real estate investments, and even insurance policies. Now, insurance policies are only included as a part of your estate if you don't assign a beneficiary. If you don't have a beneficiary, then, or to any of these investment assets, then they will become a part of your estate. And so make sure that where it's required, that you designate a beneficiary. Even on your bank accounts, make sure you designate a beneficiary. I know even on 401ks, you can name a beneficiary, but if you don't, those properties that are in your name will become a part of your estate. And then everything else that you own is part of your estate. So everything of value. So say you own some very, very valuable artwork. That becomes a part of your estate. Say you have jewelry, precious jewels that maybe was passed on from generation to generation from a grandmother or whatever. That's part of your estate. So anything that's been deemed to you is part of your estate. And so I encourage you to make sure that you begin to think about, what do you have in your home? What do you have that you own that is of value? Anything that can be sold, that you can make money off, you know, that you can get a cash value from it, is an asset. And so I want you to make sure that you begin to think about the assets that you have in your house, because these assets are a part of your estate. So those of you who said, I don't have any assets, now, is it kind of clicking? What about that automobile? What about your home? that you own? What about that motorcycle or other vehicles that you have? What about those items? Those are a part of your estate. Now, quickly, liabilities. Liabilities are what you owe. So anything that you loan, like loans. So you may have an auto loan against that car. You may have a mortgage against that home. Well, what happens is the liability decreases the value of the asset. So I encourage you to make sure you do this assignment. I'm giving you an assignment now. The assignment is begin to list all of your assets. List each and every one of them, big and small. Don't minimize it. Just list everything. It could be your televisions, anything. List your assets. And then make sure you also list your liabilities. So liabilities is anything that's owned against the assets that you have. And then do a little bit of math. If the assets outweigh, or because you're going to take your assets, the total of them, and subtract it from the liabilities, and hopefully it's in the green. But if it's in the red, you have time to kind of clean up and get out of debt and get things in order so that you will have an awesome estate to eventually pass on to your loved ones. So again, your assignment is to get my workbook, because my workbook will actually have a section where you can list your assets and kind of, write this information out and kind of see what you have. And but if you don't have my workbook, do the assignment by listing your assets and your liabilities so that you can see what your net worth is and what your estate is built up upon. For more details on your estate and understanding your estate, I encourage you to get my book, Leaving Peace in Order, and it will actually help you walk through identifying those items. If you found this information helpful, why don't you take a moment and click on like or put a comment in below and share and let me know that this information has been helpful. Also, if you would, please stay tuned to our next show where we will talk about the importance of estate planning. Again, this is the Living Peace in Order show, and I am Kimberly Ivory Graves. Thank you so very much for joining us. I love you with the love of Jesus. God bless you.